It
What's
happened a
good?
lot
What's
faster this
good?
time.
Yeah, this time way faster.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good evening. How's everyone doing?
God bless each of you guys joining up tonight. It's good to have y'all with us. For real, for real.
Yep, especially when it's the last Thursday of the year.
Yo, for
The
real.
last Thursday.
We ready to go into that 2022.
Yeah, that's right. We're just waiting a few seconds, maybe a minute, for a few other people to join in. Hope everyone is having a great and blessed weekend. I'm sorry, week, and getting ready for the weekend. Julie, what's up? What's up? What's going on? Hope all is
What's
well.
good,
I'm sure you're
Julie?
probably out there in DR. Hope everything's going well with the volunteer service you're doing out there with the giveaway.
Awesome, awesome. Hope that trip is being a blessing to her life right now, man.
Definitely, yeah. It's awesome. Yep, she's in DR. Nice. Sonia, what's going on? Gifted 150
Wow,
kids. That's
that's what I'm
nice.
talking about.
That's what's up. That's a blessing. 150 kids.
That's crazy, bro.
That's nice. And this is the right time for it too, December,
Yep.
unexpected. I'm not sure how prepared she went out there in terms of like, did she catch him by surprise or was it planned out? Were they aware that she was coming to make it happen? But that's what's up, Julie. Congrats on that.
Now, and I give her
Congrats.
props. I give her props because I know when we did that mission trip to Honduras, what, like 3 years ago, uh,
Mm-hmm.
we ended up giving for about 150, 200 kids, something like that. And
Nice.
you could give away quick. You know what I'm saying? But even though you give away quick, the work that goes into what you're gonna give those kids, man, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of
It
work.
is.
So really, that's a blessing. God bless her for the work she's doing out there.
For sure, for sure. And look, she said it was a surprise. She has another event for them tomorrow.
That's what's up.
So the blessing continues. Who else is on? We have a few other people on. Sonia, what's going on? See, mommy's on too. G, what's up, G?
God bless you, Thea. What's good, G? See, Lordy just got on with us. God bless you, Lordy.
Right?
Yeah, we got people joining up now.
Yeah, yeah.
See the numbers moving up quick.
Sounds good. All right, so we can get started then.
Yeah, let's
What's
get
up,
it on
Lodi?
and
What's
popping
up?
here.
Sounds good. So like we mentioned before, um, it's the last Thursday of the year. I'm sure we're all looking forward to the following year, despite of everything that we've possibly gone through this past year and the year before, we all know. Um, uh, so we're here to get mentally prepared for what's coming. Giving each other the support that we need to keep moving forward. As everyone can see, we do have regulars on the live, and we don't feel like we're repeating the same information over when we're explaining what this platform is intended for. Because we do it for the new viewers, but this platform is to focus on the well-being of us. Making sure that we stay on our feet, no matter what it is that we're going through on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. Is to give each other that push, the energy. And who else better than Carlos? You know what I mean? To have as a partner to provide this platform for everyone. And this platform is great not only for adults, is also good for
Hi.
all ages, for the youth. Again,
Yay.
because the younger they start,
Watching now. Watching.
there's audio connecting from another. You're muted now. I can't hear you. It's muted.
Yep, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, it was muted before. So yeah, that's what we're providing the platform for. There's so much more coming as well. You know, we didn't want to delay it any longer, which is why we're doing it on IG Live, right? To connect
Right.
with everyone that's on, and eventually we're going to expand onto other platforms as well. And the intent is to have an actual podcast also, you know. So just, you know, make sure to keep following us. Thank you to everyone who joins us, who's always on, and thank you for everyone who's unable to join but still watch the videos on Instagram or over on YouTube. You know, sending DMs, whether it's commenting on, you know, congratulating on what we're doing. You know, but really, it's not congratulating only us. It's us and the fact that you took the time to watch us. You know, which is a true blessing. So it goes both ways. Anything you want to say, Carlos?
No, man, I just think, you know, we've continued to see people blessed up. So we just want to continue that, you know, and going into this year, going into 2022, a lot of people, I think we're hitting it right at the right time. We have a lot of people that are looking to make that shift, and however we can ease that shift, because I know people need it. Definitely people need it. These are trying
Definitely.
times.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's been pretty tough, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, this past year in 2020, and we're slowly recovering. But there's also other people who are having trouble recovering, you know. So if you're recovering or are recovered, it's a blessing, you know, God bless. But then keep in mind that there's other people who are still working on it. And, you know, we're here to speed up that process. If you know anyone that's not on the live right now, um, make sure you send this notification. Make sure you send it over. Even when we're not on live, just make sure you send our videos over, you know, from YouTube. If you can't find the link, just feel free to, you know, get in touch with us, and we'll be more than happy to send it over, DM, email, however it works.
For real.
Yeah, so let's start off. Um, I'm excited about the new year, regardless of what's happening. You know, it's the energy that I'm actually feeling, that I have inside, which is a true blessing, man. It's a true blessing. So I'm hoping the same for everyone moving forward. You know, no matter what's happening, be patient, have faith. You know, there are better days. There are better days. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's start off with this one, Carlos. Let's start off with don't wait for something tragic to happen or the holidays to be in the spirit or joyful, right? What am I trying to say by that? Sometimes it takes like tragic moments like what we had, the pandemic, for people to unite. But there's also people that actually go against each other as well, you know. So it's actually pretty complicated, that situation. But what I'm trying to say here is, no matter what's going on in your life, try your best to give out that good energy. You know, turn that
Right.
bad energy into good energy is what I'm trying to say. Because there's no reason why. There's a saying: misery loves company, right? Misery loves company. If you're feeling miserable or you're not having a good day, remember, regardless of what's happening, that's all temporary. So you don't want to go ahead and pass that bad energy to someone else, because you don't know how they're going to take it. Aside from how they're going to take it, you don't know where they're going to take it, either to their workplace, either to their home. And that can cause, you know, it's a domino effect. It can cause bigger problems, you know. So I think that's very important. And we really have to put that message out there. Really have to put that message out there, you know, because I've
No, and
been, we've all been there.
yep. You know, and that whole thing too, when we're talking about how people are, you know, not taking the joy, right? Like they're like, okay, I'm gonna wait, until certain circumstances change, before I start feeling this way. I think we mentioned this verse, or I think last week or the week before, Proverbs 27:1, which says, "Do not boast about tomorrow, for you don't know what the day's gonna bring." You know what I'm saying? You don't know if you have a tomorrow. You have no anybody that tells you, or if you fool yourself that you know what tomorrow is going to bring, you absolutely got it twisted. There's no guarantee, not one, that you have tomorrow promised. And not only that, you could be in good health. You could, everything might be going right for you or whatever. Okay, maybe tomorrow's not promised. You know, maybe tomorrow is promised for you, rather, right? But what if what your issue is in terms of another person, right? because you're talking about like that vibe, that energy that people bring. Yo, that tomorrow might not be promised for that person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like you're relying on somebody else or something else, and there's absolutely no guarantee that that other person or that other thing is going to be there tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And if you live on that, you're going to be stuck on that, and it's like you just continue this pattern, and you never end up getting out of it. You know what I'm saying? And I love what you said, because when you said like, okay, that like that misery loves company. Yo, I don't know. Have you ever encountered where it's like it just feels like the people with the same kind of mentality have a habit of joining together? It's almost like they find each other. You know
They
what I'm
start a
saying?
campaign. They start a campaign.
For real, they really do. But I've seen it myself. And as I look at it more from a spiritual perspective, I'll read y'all something real quick. In Ephesians 6:12, it says, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood." You know, your struggle with somebody or whatever that thing is, bro, that's spiritual. You know what I'm saying? God wants something different for you, so it's spiritual. So why you think about that for a second? Why is it that the person who's miserable gets that company from that other person who's miserable? Case in point, have you ever noticed que a lo que le encantan el bochinche, the ones who love that gossip, they all find each other somehow,
Yeah.
some way. It's like they're like attracted to each other. Like you could have a room of 100 people, and it just
Yeah.
seems like all those people that love that somehow find a way to join together. The same way the people who have that like that miserable lifestyle, like that they're just constantly depressed. Somehow that seems to be what they attract. You know what I'm saying? It's because our struggle, it's a spiritual thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It really is a spiritual thing. So you can't rely that somebody else, number one, you can't rely somebody else or something else is going to change your tomorrow. You got to work on that. Like you got to go to God and ask him like for a plan on that, because if you don't try to do that right now, if there's no action, you're going to be stuck in that. You're going to be going, that's why people get stuck in cycles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And on the flip side, you can't expect that somebody else is going to fix it for you. If you're expecting somebody else to fix it for you, you may very well find that what you attract is what's going to keep you in that spot.
Yeah. And it's very dangerous for, a lot of people. Like I can say that I've been guilty of this, of what I'm about to say. Super guilty. So let's say someone did something to me, or at work something happened. You know what I mean? When I was working at the time, and it would mess up my whole day. It would mess up my whole day. And as much as I tried not to take it out on someone else, very few times I failed to not to take it out on someone else. But even if you're not saying, even if you're not saying anything to hurt that person, the fact your silence sometimes hurts that person, right?
Right.
So it's like they'll know, oh man, he probably had a bad day. What's going on? How are they going to know what's going on if you're not expressing yourself, right? So obviously you would need the right people around you to express yourself too, right? But I've been guilty of that, and one thing that I say, we have to be aware of these things, and I guess the more we put this into conversation, the more we talk about it, the more people will become aware and make that change. There's been other situations where I was doing a gig once, a drop off, right? And you had a customer, she was just going off. She was just going off, because of a slight mistake. And I just kept my cool, right? Because what I'm thinking is this, and I'm aware of this. It's like maybe the people that she usually deals with are on 100, just like her, right? So if people are on 100, she's going to try and be on 120, She's going to want to be more,
Yep.
a lot louder, more vicious. And I just kept my cool. And quickly she realized, like, man, this is a nice kid, And she even apologized. She was like, you know what? I'm sorry for overreacting. I should have never reacted that way. This is not the item that I wanted. That's it. It was a simple mistake. That it was actually made on their end in the system, and she was unaware of it. But the whole point is, once you're aware of a lot of things, even outside of that, there's a lot of things that change, a lot of things that are avoided as well. Sometimes little problems become huge, for no reason, because sometimes we are the ones that make it worse. So it's something for everyone to be aware, definitely. So I'm glad we actually touched that. As soon as you were talking, all those scenarios came to mind, and I just had to put it out there. Because again, go ahead, Carlos.
No, I
I'm
was gonna
listening
say,
after.
and I'm glad that you brought like the personal aspect to it, like that you've gone through it as well. I know I'm guilty of it. I think
Yeah,
most of us are
we're very
are guilty of
transparent
that.
here.
Exactly. Most of us are guilty of it, and we've seen the pros and cons, like when you fall into it versus when you don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Bible also says, like, be angry, but do not sin. Do not let your anger, do not let the sun go down on your anger, and give no opportunity to the devil. So you're allowed to be angry. Like, if
Hmm.
something upsets you, please, 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 please. And I'm telling you this from a Christian perspective, because one of the things that people who are religious, I'm not talking about Christian, I'm talking about religious, and religious can be any religion. That includes Christianity. That includes whether you're Catholic, Christian, whatever it is that you are. The biggest thing that they try and tell you is like, okay, like you fail if you're angry, right? You could be angry. Absolutely, you can be angry, but don't let that lead you to sin. That's number one. And what's sin? Jesus himself said, two things that I need you to do. Like, these are like, they're two commandments. You'll fulfill everything else if you do these. Love me above all things and love everybody else like you would me. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So if you are angry and you do something against somebody that you wouldn't do against yourself, that you wouldn't do towards God, but especially yourself, right there, you're sinning, because you're like, I would be willing to hurt this person in this way. And
Hmm.
hurting them doesn't have to be physical. It can be emotional. Sometimes you can let out something verbally that is a million times more hurtful than something that you can hit somebody. There are certain people that would prefer for you to just boom, just punch them in the face, just get it over
Hmm.
with, like give them a good stomp and whatever, as opposed to you hurting them verbally, because those verbal scars, number one, you can't see them, and number two, the people will keep that inside, and they won't let that go. Like, it'll just be inside, and it's silent. You'll never see it. But also, don't let that sun go down on your anger. Why?
Yeah.
Because the moment that you let it continue on to the next day, it becomes very easy to have it continue the next day and the next day and the next day. That's why you got people that got grudges for like 15, 20 years, and they won't let it go because
Big
they let
time.
it pass that one day. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, it became real easy. Okay, I'm going to put it off. I'm going to put it off. I'm going to pull off apologizing. I'm going to put off. Maybe you don't need to apologize. Maybe you just need to talk it out. You know what I'm saying? And they won't talk it out because it's that hurt, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever it is. And a lot of times, I mean, I've been in there in instances where people finally, start talking after 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever. And it's like, dang, like, now that we get to talk it out, that was kind of stupid for me to be so angry about it. Or you go the
Hmm.
flip side. We go back to tomorrow's not promised, right?
Yeah.
Let's say something happens to that person and you get like, yo, I just got word that somebody just hit me up. That Joaquin passed away. All of a sudden, you sit there in your chair and you're just like, yo, but oh man, nah, don't tell me that. And then when you go and like all these things start rushing in your head, and you start to feel this guilt of like, why did I let that go on for so long? Like, why did
Yeah.
I let this go on for so long? And maybe the person doesn't pass away. Maybe the person gets really sick. You know what I'm
Really
saying? And
sick.
it's
Yeah.
like, it
Really
could be a
ill.
terminal thing. And you're just like, I just threw away a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years of a friendship, of a family. This is my brother, this is my sister, this is my cousin, this is my aunt, my uncle, whoever. And then it's like, now I'm not going to get that time back. How much time do I have? And next thing you know, you got this guilt. That's why the end of this particular verse is so good. Like, God is so good in giving it, because he says, don't give any opportunity to the devil. You know what I'm saying? Why?
Yeah.
What's the devil real good about doing? I'm going to tell you right now. I think every one of us has felt this. What's he so good about doing? You know why you're failing at this? It's because of what you did back then. You know why this is going wrong for you? It's because of what you did over here. You know why this person over there doesn't like you? It's because of look at how you treated that person over there. You're terrible. Oh, you know why when you launch your business, why it doesn't fail? Is because God is so angry with you. He's
Hmm.
so angry with you because you couldn't let go of this. You couldn't let go of that. Oh, you feel this guilt, right? Because you didn't forgive this person and they're dead now. Yo, you're gonna carry that guilt your whole life. Get ready. You're gonna carry. And then there's
Yeah.
some of us who feel like we don't deserve anything good. Like we talk about like that negative energy. We attract all this negative stuff because what we feel that we deserve is nothing good. We deserve all the bad things that are coming to us because I was so bad with this ex. I was so bad with my family member, my parent, my sister. I was so bad to this friend that I don't talk to. I did all these things wrong that you let it continue on. And what the devil is real good about doing, the enemy, he plays a dirty game. He'll take that and he'll be like, okay, we can work with this. I'm going to keep you where I want to keep you and not have you realize what you're entitled to by having you believe that the only thing that you're entitled to is all these bad things because you're all dirty. You're all stained. Like
Yep.
you got all this stuff on you. Don't let it happen. Let that stuff
That's right.
pass. God wants so much better for you than that. That's why we get this advisement of like, yo, if you're angry, all right, be angry. Be angry. But chill there. Don't let that pass from you. You know what I'm
Because
saying?
it's okay. It's okay to feel, it's okay to feel. That's another thing that I was guilty of before, years back, where I thought that you're supposed to put a front on people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And pretend like life is great, like life is perfect. If somebody comes up to you and they haven't seen you for a while, obviously you're not going to say, nah, man, I'm going through it right now. But you don't have to get into details, but you also don't have to pretend like life is perfect. Just keep it
Yep.
short. And everything's good. Just taking it one day at a time. That's a neutral. That's a neutral response. But I was guilty of pretending like I had it all stable. Everything is great. There's nothing wrong in my life. Everything is perfect. I got it covered. I got it handled. And after a while, that does catch up.
The
you know,
classic, how you doing? Oh, I'm good.
yeah, I'm good, man. Just gotta stay positive. Just gotta, no matter what happens in your life, just keep your head up. And no, it's like, dude, you know, everything's good. Just taking it one day at a time.
Yep.
Because half the time you're actually going through something, whether it's with family, whether it's with in a relationship, whether it's your kids, maybe it's a job, maybe it's an illness. It can be multiple things. Not everyone needs to know, but you have to be respectful. You can't be rude, and do give a neutral response, like I just mentioned a few seconds ago. Being that you touched that subject, I moved over a thought from all the way in the bottom up to the top.
Let's go.
It's word selection, right? It has to do with what you said. Word selection. The release is quick. You just finished saying it. See, we're aligned, bro. We're aligned. The release is quick, but what's said is of long term, could be of long term, right?
Yep.
Be mindful of what you say to others because words are buried into hearts and minds. So think about that for a second. Pastor Carlos just finished saying it not too long ago. Anything you say may hurt someone, and you can't even take it back. Sometimes sorry isn't even going to help that person heal. It's going to take time for them to think and go through to heal. So it's something that we have to keep in mind. Again, I said word selection. It's the way you express yourself, or the tone, right? The tone and the words that you're saying towards a person. Are they aggressive? Because that's another thing to think about too. Sometimes we're so angry, we're not even thinking, and we say the worst things just to try and hurt them because at the moment that's what feels right.
It's a reaction.
But then 20 minutes later, an hour later, sometimes a day later, because sometimes you got to sleep it off and wake up the next day to realize, man, I was wrong. Should have never done that, or I should have never said this.
We're real quick to react and let that out, but we're extremely slow to take it back if we have to take it back, because that takes you have to bury your pride.
Yeah, that's right. So it's something that we have to keep in mind. Awareness is so broad. You know what I mean? Awareness. The more we're aware of, the more we know. The more we read on things, the more we learn, right? The more we know. The more people join our platform, they'll be able to hear more and more information, more scenarios, more testimonies, and this way they know how to carry it on moving forward. And this might not only help you, it can also help a friend or
Yep.
any children, your children or your friends' children. This really helps everyone. So I'm glad that we hit that. I had to move that thought up. I couldn't leave it for last. It's like we were gonna repeat the same thing over and over again towards the end.
No, and it's good that you ended up mentioning that too, because a lot of times we're very quick to
Mm-hmm.
to let out when you're talking about that word selection. We're
Yeah,
very quick to let out negative words. You know what I'm saying? This is not just about what you might say to somebody else, but this is in terms of how you might react to something. We're very quick to give a negative word, but we're very slow to or for some reason we like to avoid positive words, the words that talk about who we truly are. We miss that. We completely miss that. That's something that and it's sad. I'm just going to be transparent with it. It's something that, especially if you haven't seeked God, if you're not walking with God, if you're not trying to find him. And this is not to say like, okay, if you don't believe, like it's only you, because there's many people that say that they're Christians, but they don't seek him. So they don't seek and find out what God has to say about them. Yo, if you only realized what God says about you, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think the mindset of people would be way different. Because if you were to know that this is what he says about you and then relay that to other people, because that's what he says about them as well, lives would be changed. Lives would be so different, because we're there. And you can apply this to people, but apply this to yourself as well. Do you call yourself loved? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we don't call ourselves loved. We talk about how, all these negative things, these negative feelings that people might have. It's very quick for us to say, oh, I got a lot of haters. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I got this person hating on me. I got that person hating on me.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. You probably do. But what you're talking about is your word associating that you're hated. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever associated with yourself that you're loved? God loves you.
Yeah.
Number one, God loves you. But at the same time, I think if you look hard enough, you're going to find that there's a lot of people that love you. That's one. Have you called, do you call yourself that like you're free? That, a lot of times we say like, oh no, man, yo, I'm a slave to this car payment. I'm a slave to this rent. Yo, all I do is work. And before I even, spend my check, that money's gone because I got to pay that on these bills. We're a slave to the job. We're a slave to the bill. We're a slave to the money. God doesn't call you a slave. God says that you're free. Do you have the mentality of a free person? You know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of people that don't make moves. Maybe they don't make moves in going into business for themselves. Maybe they don't make moves into making an investment for themselves, like the stock market, or just investing in something that's gonna yield a different result for them that might change their lives a little bit. Maybe it's not financial. Maybe you don't invest in a relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A relationship. It could be with somebody that can be a partner, or a spouse. It could be somebody that you consider to be just a family member or friend. Maybe you don't invest in that because you're like worried, like, oh snap, how's this going to affect me? You know what I'm saying? Like, and you don't think the positive side of it. You think the negative side of it. You have a slave mentality as opposed to the mentality of a free person. You know what I'm saying? And God says that, nah, you're free. Like, I gave my life so that you could be free of all these things. And we walk around as slaves, not as free people, because we attribute all these negative things. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Do you realize that he redeemed you? Do you realize that he called you strong? Do you realize that he called you confident? Do you realize that he said, I perfectly made you, like I masterfully crafted you, like you are perfect, like you're exactly like I want you to be, like I made you this way. It doesn't mean and that doesn't mean that all the mistakes that you're making, all the mistakes that you make, like that he sees you as perfect, like in that. No. He doesn't see your mistakes as perfect. He sees you as perfect. Your mistakes are these things that you're committing, but you are perfect. So it's like, let me help you to get rid of those bad things. Let me help you get rid of those mistakes, push them to the side. But yo, we hold on to that, like the ill baggage, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we hold on to that with the ill baggage, like, oh, I'm always going to spend. Oh, I'm always going to overeat. Oh, I'm always going to do this. Oh, I'm always going to do that. Like we take that and we don't let go of it. Like we hold on to that, like until the end of the earth. Like that's the case, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, he's saying something different about you. Number one, are you willing to take that in for yourself, first of all? And are you willing to tell others that that's what they are? Because if you can't say that about yourself, you're not going to be able to say that about somebody else because you don't believe it for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Know that those are the things that he called you. You know, he has called you those things.
Man, we're aligned. You know what I had to do again, right? I had to move thought all the way from the bottom up to add to what you're saying. Adding to what you just finished saying, keep working on yourself and let the blessings flow as they come, right? So I want to grab the word blessings in that sentence. Even I've been guilty of this as well, but I'm sure many others, if not everyone, learned this the hard way. They feel like they're entitled to blessings, right? They feel like once you hope for something or once you have a thought of something, that God is supposed to just bless you out of nowhere. Here you go, because I thought about it, I was hoping it, and I asked for it, so guess what? You should be giving it to me, right? So this is where people are mistaken. I've been there as well, you know, because I'm not trying to point fingers. I've been there as well, you know, and I learned the hard way that, yeah, God is there to bless, but we're here on this earth with our vision, our efforts, right? We have to try and make it happen as well. You know, once we think something, once we pray for it, we're hoping for it, you know, we're wishing, whatever the case is, you have to go after it. You know, you have to go after it with patience and faith. And, you know, eventually the blessing will come at the right time.
Yeah.
Because I can even admit this. There's a lot of things that I've asked for that I've received recently or in the past year or so. Had I received this a few years back, I would have never been mature enough to handle that blessing. So that blessing was going to turn into nothing.
Yep.
So I have to put that out there, you know, and I'm sure other people can actually use that, you know, register what I just finished saying. There are blessings that you're asking for now that maybe it's not the right time for you to receive it because you won't know what to do with it. You won't know what to do with it. I can give you a prime example of what everyone is wishing for. I wish I had $1 million. Do you know what you're going to do with, you know what you're going to do with $1 million?
Yep.
I don't think so. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, they do know what they're going to do. Is that the right thing to do? All you're going to do is spend it on liability instead of thinking assets. You know?
Yep, there's statistics out
so
there.
Many things.
There's statistics out there. If you look at lottery winners, there's a high percentage of lottery winners that when they win the lottery, within I'm talking about years, and I'm not talking about like 10 years. I'm talking like 5 years or less. They are broke. They're going back and working the job they were working before. You look at athletes. There's athletes that, like, today you see this dude on TV. I'm going to throw a name out at you. I'm going to throw a big name out at you, right? You look at somebody when we, you know, growing up, we had the Chicago Bulls, right? We had like Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, right? Scottie Pippen was broke within a few years. This is Scottie Pippen, NBA All-Star Scottie Pippen, NBA champion Scottie Pippen, Nike Air Scottie Pippen. You know, MJ was gone. Scottie was all over like, you're talking about somebody that you see them big on TV, like larger than life on TV. Like, oh, snap, that's Scottie. The same way that there's Scottie Pippen, there's thousands of athletes out there who are blessed with big contracts. The Boston Celtics had Antoine Walker back in the early 2000s. Antoine Walker had some of the largest contracts in NBA history. Talking about, like, I think this dude made like 160, 180 mil. He don't have any of that money right now.
At that time, you know what I mean? That's a lot of money.
At that time, you know what I'm saying? At that time, he did not have that money anymore. Like within a few years of him being out the league, you go and you talk to him, like when he details his story, like, yo, but how did that happen? I bet I bought this crib. I bought all these cars that I didn't need. I bought, like you said, liabilities. I got into all these liabilities. Oh, so-and-so, fulanito de tal needs money. Boom, I got you. Oh, this person needs money. Boom, I got you. I got you here. I got you there.
Or wherever you go, everything is covered, you know?
You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, on top of that, yo, having people around you that you're hitting money, hitting off with money and blessing their life is dangerous for them and is dangerous for you. Why? Because the moment you do that, those people will no longer tell you things the way it is. Those people will become yes men. So you come in and you're like, yo, I think that buying this new whip is it's the best idea ever. Like, I'm gonna go buy me this Lambo. You know what I'm saying? So and so is next to you. Yeah. Go buy that Lambo. Go buy that Lambo. Why? Because number one, they don't want to tell you no. They don't want to tell you no. They want to become a yes man. And number two, they probably looking to stunt in that Lambo with you. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So let's go buy that Lambo. It makes them look good. So now you get surrounded by a bunch of yes men. You're not helping them because they become lazy and they doing whatever they want because they know that Joaquin's always going to hit me off. You know what I'm saying? He's always going to help me out. All I got to come is be the good yes man. Yo, what's up? Yo, I like that Lambo you bought yesterday. Yo, by the way, I need this investment I got to make. Like, I wanted to cop this, let's get matching that. And boom, there you go, hitting them off. You didn't help them, but at the same time, they're not helping you because they won't tell you no. You no longer have that person that's coming in and being like, yo, pero espérate. You got 2 Ferraris. You got that new Grand Wagoneer. You already got that Lambo. Beautiful car. You already got this, this Mercedes. You got that BM over there. My man, I don't think that Lambo's a good idea right now. Like, your insurance bill gonna be dumb high, and you already paying like 3-4 G's in insurance.
That's what a real one is gonna tell you.
But they ain't gonna, but it comes so commonplace to no longer have that because you're gonna have somebody else coming in being like, nah, I'm not gonna tell him no. I want that too. This is mine. And if you look at somebody like Antoine Walker, it's like within 3 or 4 years, homie had nothing. Yo, you got NBA players that are managers of Starbucks right now. No lie. NBA players that are managing Starbucks right now. Bro, come on.
And the reason why they get into these positions is because of the connections that they have,
You see what I'm saying?
So
you see what I'm saying? So you got these people, like, it's not like Shaq who owns like a bunch of Papa John's, but he's franchised them and he's making money off of them. No, these are people that I got so broke that I'm working at the Starbucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about that. So what do you want that money for? Like, because let's call it what it is. Most of us, what we're looking for blessing because we feel that freedom comes in the form of that blessing is cash money, dinero. You know what I'm saying? So when you get that, like, if God gave you $1 million, what you gonna do right now? Yo, you guys.
You're asking me? Oh, okay. I was about to respond.
I'm just saying. I've heard of lottery winners who even like they leave their spouse and they get angry with this person and that person. And like everything goes off the rails the moment they got that money. It's like that. I'm not saying that the money is the root of all evil. I don't believe that because God allows for this money and this prosperity to flow. But what it is that I'll read you real quick. There's numerous verses in which it talks about like, may God give you the desires of your heart and make your plans succeed, right? He give you the desires of your heart and make those plans succeed. But if you look at other verses, he says, if you commit to the Lord everything that you're going to do, he will establish your plans. Most of us ain't even asking God, like, what do you want me to do with this money now that you have it? We're not even willing to do that. We're not even willing to say, like, it's all about me. What am I going to do? So those plans don't work out for good things because we're thinking about us. It's all about us. And what God is saying is like, yo, I'm going to commit. If you commit to me, I'm going to set up your plans. So I'm going to give you the idea of, yo, go do this business. I'm going to give you the idea of go bless this person in particular. Don't go bless all these other people who are not going to appreciate you and are going to drain you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go to these particular people. This is who needs that blessing right now. And as you walk in that, you start to see how God multiplies it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But what you going to do if God does that? It ain't even about money. I seen people that they're like, oh my God, I really need this health issue to be fixed. I need this this kidney transplant. I need this liver transplant. I need
And
this
sometimes
heart
for the wrong
transplant.
reasons. For the wrong reasons.
And there they are. They're like, oh, okay, God, do something. And one day God does a miracle. And what do they go do? The same thing they were doing before the transplant that got them into trouble to begin with.
Yeah,
Now,
because there's some things that
come
are
on,
second
bro.
chances. It's like a second opportunity, to
You
do things
know,
right.
and people don't learn. That's the problem. So it's like, what plan are you looking to go into? You see what I'm saying? What plan do you?
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a great topic because we're talking about going into this next year, and we make plans every time we go into a new year. The plans. All right, stop for a second. Really chill. Pump the brakes for a hot minute. You got a laundry list of plans. For real. That's great. That's nice. Number one, what you gonna do with those plans? Let's say all that pans out. How does that serve you? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Oh, I got a plan for this new house. I bet. What does a new house do for you? Because it is an investment. Don't get me wrong, but it's also it could be a liability.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? If you're not well put together, next thing you know, you could be getting. And trust me, I know this from living in my house. You could be like, oh man, I got this house and it's cheaper than living in an apartment, and it's an investment. But are you ready for the additional stuff that comes with the house?
Mm-hmm.
Because you ain't just getting a house and getting it like an apartment. If the stuff breaks, you ain't calling the super. Yo, come fix it. I got this leak. Yo, the steam ain't coming out. Come help me. You know what I'm saying? Oh, there's a leak in the ceiling. It must be the neighbor. Super comes and fixes it. All late, but the super comes and fixes it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. My brother, go get your house. Oh, I got this leak in the ceiling. You better go call that contractor. The insurance probably ain't going to cover it. Are you ready to pay what you're going to have to pay to fix that? Oh, you got this leak in the house. You ready to pay that plumber? Because that ain't cheap. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't careful, it can become a liability.
They don't know what it comes with.
Oh, I want this new car this year. What you going to do with a car? Come on now.
Yeah.
A number of the viewers we got over here right now are in New York. What you going to do with a car, bro?
Yeah. parking situation and all that stuff.
3 hour parking? You want to do that 1 hour parking, 2 hour parking, 3 hour parking?
The insurance payment high,
The insurance payment
just for living in the city.
You want to go downtown where there ain't no parking? Yo, how much I got to pay to park this car? I'm going to park for an hour. That's $30. What? Uh-huh. You ready for that?
That's a whole meal.
You thinking about a blessing, but you don't realize the liability that comes with it. So what is your end game? Ultimately, what is your end game? Nah, I just want to stack this paper. What you stacking this paper for? You stacking this paper to invest in yourself? Because if you ain't stacking this paper to invest in yourself, what are you doing with your money? Because anything else other than investment is going to drain you. So what are you going to do with your money? If you stack up, nah, man, I said I'm looking to take this vacation. I bet. We all need a vacation.
People, they honestly don't know what they're going to do with it. You know what I mean? And even with money, there's things that they ask for. Like you just finished saying, there's assets, right? Liabilities, whatever it is. They don't know the responsibility that it comes with, Like, for example, speaking of an asset, let's say if someone is to invest in a multifamily home, it's obvious, you're renting out all the floors, or if you have to house hack, you're renting out one floor and renting out the rest of the floors. It sounds easy because the tenants are paying for the house, right? For the whole house. But you have to be there to receive those late calls if something goes wrong in the house, right? Damage needs to get fixed. There's a lot of other responsibilities. People only see the receiving of money, the benefit of, owning a multifamily home, but they don't see what comes with it, exactly what you were saying.
You made a good point. If you do the house hacking, you get somebody, oh man, first 2, 3, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years is good. And what you start doing, I feel comfortable. I can start spending this money that I get, this extra money that I normally would have spent on the house.
Habits.
You start, yo, I'm going to get this car or whatever. What happens the day that you got an issue, right? Let's say a pipe burst or whatever, and you got to fix it. What happens if that tenant holds on to their rent? Do you spend your money, or did you have the money to pay to cover their part, since they're not paying you right now, since they feel that they need to hold out? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They're holding out. Are you ready to pay the difference? You're probably not. Or, come on, we calling it now. We're in this COVID age. People were getting, look at landlords last year and even part of this year, dying for these tenants to be evicted, and they couldn't evict them because they had moratoriums in place to say, no, you can't evict nobody.
Yeah.
What you gonna do when you're renting out 2 of the apartments in your multi-story home,
Mm-hmm.
and you were used to that income being constantly in, so you kept spending your share, you kept spending your money, you weren't paying more down on the house, you weren't storing it away for a rainy day, and all of a sudden you got 2 tenants. Yo, I got that COVID moratorium, I ain't gotta pay you nothing right now.
Which is where money management kicks in. You know.
You see what I'm
You
saying?
know.
Then
It
you
goes
got the
back
sales
to
stress.
Yeah, it goes back to what we were saying, how sometimes things aren't well thought, and it won't. You're asking for a blessing, but you don't know. Maybe it's not the right time to receive it because you're just not ready in multiple areas. There's a lot of things that you learn along the way. There's a lot
Yep.
of things that you learn when you're reading about whatever field you want to get into or whatever it is that you want to start doing. Sometimes
Yeah.
we're not ready for these blessings. I want to, I had to, we're aligned. We're aligned because I had to move thoughts. I don't know if you noticed while you were talking. I
God
had to
wants to speak today, man. Go ahead. Hit
yeah.
it.
So I wrote down new year, new me. Like really asking, new year, new me. Is it really that? What about new year, same me, different mindset, better habits? Instead of announcing the new you, focus on actually being the new you. Okay, so I'm going to read that again. New year, new me. This is what everyone is using whenever the year is ending and the new year is coming. What about new year, same you, different mindset, better habits? Register that. Instead of announcing the new you, focus on actually being the new you, because it's so easy to delay a lot of bad habits. It's easy when there's things that you really deep down inside you don't want to do or you don't want to change, and you use the excuse of the new year, right? Prime example, I'll start working out next year. The year's almost over. I'll start next year. Or you
Mm-hmm.
know what? I have to stop eating these type of foods. Let me just do it next year. Or you know what? I have to. I don't know. I don't feel happy at my job. Maybe that's a little different. You don't want to get up and go, especially around these times. But the point that I'm trying to make is any changes that you want to make, it's okay. We're not saying feel guilty because of what I'm saying, right now. Simply is that we should never wait. You know, we should never wait. I've been guilty of it, saying, you know what, next year I'm gonna do this. When I finally learned that maybe the best time to make a change is now or tomorrow, or slowly make that change. You know what I mean? But instead of waiting and using the excuse for the following year, it's very important because sometimes we're delaying our progress. There's a lot of things that we're doing. Maybe we haven't been blessed because we're delaying that blessing because of the thought that we have. No, we have more time. Let's just wait. The only thing that you should wait around in is things that are out of your control. And because all you have to tell yourself is have patience and faith. That's it. That should be, if you're going to wait on anything, it's to receive the patience and faith that you need to reach that goal or those goals. So I had to put that out there. And with that said,
No,
even with that said, I also wrote, where do you want to see yourself in the future? Because it goes along with that. Where do you want to see yourself in the future? And what exactly are you doing to see yourself there? That vision that you have or those ideas that you have, what is it that you're doing to actually make it happen instead of just talking about it,
yep.
Because action speaks louder than words. We know that. And sometimes you don't have to prove to anyone. You don't have to do things so others can see that you're on your way and you're making things that, no. Sometimes there's things that you have to do silently, which is, you know what, I'm not able to do this right now. I need more capital. I need more money. Let me do some research to see what I can do. Let me see how much money I should have saved. Let me see how much money I need to maybe drop right now. Let me see how long it'll take for me to actually get a full grasp of this business or this organization to actually make it happen. You take the time to gather the information because sometimes you have the money, but you don't have the information. So
Yep.
that can be a major loss too. So sometimes you gotta really, if you're gonna do anything that has to do with time, take your time to think through, not take your time and delay intentionally. And when I say that, I say it because of like if there's any bad habits and stuff like that. But there's stuff that is out of our control, which is what I just finished mentioning. That's why I'm putting the examples out there, because I don't need anyone to feel guilty, and I hope that didn't confuse anyone either. But it's very important, man, to put that information out there, because sometimes we can get desperate, and we've mentioned it before in our past episodes that desperation leads to deception
Yep.
in multiple ways, multiple ways.
No, absolute facts. And it's one of those things too that, yo, if you really got it in your head, like, okay, new year, new me, in 2 days I'm gonna be different. Like I bet. Why haven't you done it the whole year though? I'm
Yeah.
not, again, it's not to make you feel guilty.
Yeah.
It's not to make you feel guilty because let's call it what it is. There's a lot of people that are just like January comes around, you start the first few days doing what you need to do, you fall off. Instead of picking yourself back up and doing what you need to do, you're like, oh man, the year's a wash. We just gonna wait till next year. You know what I'm saying? Like in January,
Yeah.
you already gave up and you go into next year. Like you're already thinking about like, okay, when New Year's comes around, I'm gonna do it different. I'm gonna do it different. Or maybe you go, nah, I already messed up this month. I'm gonna start next month, and then the next month, and then the next month. New year, new you it's a lie, man. That's the biggest lie ever. Let me tell you, the only new you that you're gonna have, I'm gonna tell you right now, the word of God itself says it. If you are in Christ, you're gonna become a new creation. If you believe in him, you're gonna become a new creation. You ain't gonna become a new you any other way. I hate to break it to you. You're just not. Because you are who you are. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
you could try to make these changes. I've seen so many people who try to make changes, try to make changes, try to make changes, and they just can't seem to make that change. But once they start believing in God and they give it to God, they're like, yo, you can't do it. Christ, help me. Because I can't do it. I'm gonna give it to you because you need to do this for me. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, it's not to say that they're perfect, but they start to have patience. They start to say, yo, I'm going to move, but I need your direction. I don't see it right away. I'm going to have patience. I'm going to have faith that this is going to turn out fine. Because before that, a lot of times we don't have that faith, right? So what happens? Yo, I'm going to start this business. You start the business, the first few weeks, yo, I like this business. What's up? Tú me entiendes, whatever. And you get this. And then all of a sudden, after the first month, 2 months, 3 months, like everything's hot. All of a sudden, people start to fall off because they start to fall into their routine again, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, the storefront that you got or the online shop that you have or whatever is not getting as many customers as you had before. Are you going to believe in the vision that God gave you? Or are you going to believe what God put in your heart to do for
Hmm.
this business? Or are you going to be like, yo, nothing's coming in. I have to give up. This is over. Because that's what happens to a lot of us. You know what I'm
And
saying?
it's very easy for that to happen, and it's something that they
Absolutely.
have to know. It's something
And you're
that they have
always
to
going to
know.
have that struggle. It's always going to happen where it falls off, where something falls off, where something goes wrong. Where sometimes you could have game planned for whatever it was, and it just did not work out right. Maybe it's your business and something broke down. Maybe it's your diet and your exercise, and then you got COVID and you couldn't exercise. It could be a number of things. What are you going to do the moment that plan that you had is still in action, but you get a speed bump along the way? Do you have
Hmm.
the faith and do you have the patience to push it forward and believe that this is going to still happen? If you
Yeah.
don't, a lot of times, if you don't have God, you don't have the faith that that's going to happen. Meanwhile, I've seen people that they're like, yo, I know that I was redeemed by Christ. I know what God says about me. and somebody prophesied this business to me, or somebody prophesied this to me or that to me, and I'm going to believe that God's word does not lie. So I'm going to move forward. And even though I don't see this working, I'm going to push forward. And then later down the road, they're like, yo, my man, I cannot believe how this issue resolved itself. I'll give you a creative one. I've had struggles with my business because of COVID and a number of different things, right? Where it impacted my business, and I could not have my programmer for what we do in our software help me. You know, it was very limited. His time was very limited, and I was like, "Yo, God, I've heard of you saying creative miracles. Yo, I need a creative miracle because something's not working, and I have no idea how to fix it. I have zero idea how to fix it." And I got this limited time on this programmer. He's, doing some little things or whatever. And if I can't give him direction, I don't know. That might be it for the business. This thing might be over. And I asked God for a creative miracle. And like 2 days later, in a dream, he showed me something. He showed me doing something on a screen, like on a computer screen. And when I woke up, I snapped out of it. I'm like, yo, I think I got the answer. So what do? I go. I write up I can't remember if I wrote up an email or I wrote up a quick little message on WhatsApp or something. And I'm like, yo, I think I got the solution. Can you do this and see if it will work? Like, I don't know nothing about it, or else I would do it myself. But can you do this? I got an idea of something. Can you do this? Programmer hits me up. Give me like 5 minutes. I think you might be onto something. Mind you, he's the expert. Right? What happens? 5-10 minutes later, yo, what you just gave me worked. I put it in, it worked.
Look at that.
Everything's operating perfectly.
That's
I could have easily given up. The old me would have been like,
or never mentioned it. You would have never mentioned it.
Or never mentioned
simple fact, it's just a dream.
Exactly. But what happened? I knew that I had my faith. I knew that God had a purpose. So it was like, all right, hold up. If you put me here, you're going to do something. I believe that you're going to do something. Not because I'm asking you and I'm saying you have to do something or else I'm going to damn you or something like that. No, it's because I know what you say about me. So I have to believe that if you put me here with a purpose, and I can't give up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Something has to happen. So since I can't do it because I'm not an expert, you give me the idea. You know what I'm saying? You give me the idea. He showed out. He gave me the idea. And there it was. To this day, we're still up and running. You know what I'm saying? There's still struggles. Again, we've been transparent. There's still struggles, but
there's always going to be struggles.
God has sustained me, and I have that faith, and I have that patience. And I could tell you, new year, new you, stop it. Really, stop. Just stop.
Mm-hmm.
If you're thinking about all these plans that you're going to bring into this year, I want you to ask yourself a question, number one. And this is just to be honest with yourself. It's not about condemning you or scolding you or telling you that you're wrong and making you feel guilty. No, it's not about that. It's to stop for a second and let's create a paradigm shift in your focus, in your mentality, in your mindset. If you're wanting to do it, right, whatever it is that you're wanting to do, ask yourself the question, did you have this thought already before, in previous years or in previous months? Like, real easy one, because it's a new year and it's the easiest one to do. Yo, I'm gonna lose weight and I'm gonna work out. All right, bet. Stop for a second. If that's what you're gonna do, did you have that thought in previous years or previous months? That you knew that you had to eat healthier, that you knew that you had to work out, that you knew that you had to do better with your finances, that you knew that you had to cut some toxic stuff or toxic people out of your life. You knew that before. If the answer to that is yes, now let's go into question 2. Where did you fail? Right?
Rolling it over to the next year. Rolling it over to the next year, like those AT&T rollover minutes. You remember that?
Oh, right? For real.
Exactly.
Old rollover minutes. Like, don't worry about it. It'll roll over into the next month. But what they don't tell you is that it expires, I think, the month later. So you're using all the minutes, and you're like, yo, but I thought I had these minutes. Nah, bro. Those 2-month minutes, they expired at the end of this month. You know what I'm saying? But we're working on that. So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So if you answered yes, that you have had some of those thoughts for yourself, whether it's weight loss, whether it's finances, whatever it is, toxic people, whatever you need to cut out. If your answer was yes, that you already knew that you had to cut that stuff out, right? Now I ask question number 2. What caused you to fail? that you couldn't complete that before. Now this is where you got to be honest with yourself. Is it because you started picking up your bad habits in terms of eating? If it is, analyze that. Your finances, were you willing to make certain cuts that you need to make, certain sacrifices? If it is, what happened? If it's toxic people, but somehow those people are still in your life, you cut them out for 2 weeks, but they came back and you didn't shut the door. Why?
And you know why that happens?
Now the question is, what's going to be different? What's going to be different?
You know why?
What are you going to do different?
That you know why that happens, right? That happens because sometimes people don't know how to say no, or they just don't know how to. They just don't know how to cut ties. You know, so they prefer.
And it's commitment. You have to have commitment too.
And the damage is a lot bigger when you don't know how to say no or afraid. Sometimes we all know how to say no. It's just that you're afraid to say no. You know, or just if people don't understand, just cut them right off. You know what I mean? And we're talking about toxic people, you know, people that aren't really doing much, you know, because honestly, the times that we're living in, it should have always been like this. But the times that we're living in, the only people that should be in your life are people that are doing things for you. It's not like you're using them. What I'm saying is this: people who are good friends and are actually helping you push forward, expecting nothing in return, because a lot of people do things expecting in return. You know, and really in this world, you know, my opinion, if you do something, it's because you want to do it, not because you're expecting that person to do something for you eventually, you know, and that's the way that I've always, you know, seen that. So that's why I think that's why they just keep delaying. That's why they keep pushing it. They just don't know, or they're afraid to say no. Better said.
And I think that you went into a good one right there when you were talking about, you know, those people, like, you know, those toxic people. And then you got those people who love you, you know, those people that want the best for you. Right. And it's interesting because you talk about you shifted topics from the bottom up. And it's like, again, you know, something that we were discussing before is kind of making its rounds here. And I don't even think that we had planned to have that discussion. It was just something between you and me, but it fits this topic perfectly. And it's like, you know, they asked Jesus, like, yo, what's the greatest commandment, right? And Jesus went, love your Lord, your God, with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. That's the first and greatest. And second, just like it, is love your neighbor as yourself. Your neighbor being your neighbor, your brother, your sister, your friend, whoever. Love everybody that's around you as you would yourself. Unfortunately, we don't have that. And what we've started to see here in this last year and a half, that was already there. Like, people being like that, it's always been there. It's always been there. But it's magnified itself here in the last year and a half. We've gotten to see the true selfish nature of people.
Big time.
And in reality, you've seen things get magnified on two different levels. The ones who were always about themselves, that really didn't care about anybody, they were selfish, that's gotten magnified. The ones who have cared about people on the other side, that's been magnified, because what's happened is the ones who are selfish, you've started to see them do more things for themselves, that you can start to see more clearly, yo, this person's all about them. They were never looking out for me. They were never looking out for her. They were never looking out for him. Meanwhile, the ones who have always been about caring for people and stuff like that, showing love to people, they're the ones that it's like, yo, this person's really looking out right now. This person's really contacting people right now. This person's really checking to see how people are doing right now. This person is really, you know, doing whatever they're doing right now. Like, legit, they're trying to care for people, you know?
Yeah.
Yo, this has been a time that if you really want to open your eyes and look around, pay attention to the people that are around you. There's a lot of selfish people around you. Are you still having them around? You know? And it doesn't necessarily mean you need to cut them off like, yo, I'm never going to talk to you again. You know what could work? Have a conversation with them. Sit down. Pick up the phone. Please don't just text, because texting don't get nowhere. People hide behind the text. People hide behind the screen. Even if you got to pick up the phone and talk to them, you could hear the change in their voice when you can tell different habits, especially if you're in person. But if you can't do it in person, obviously, you can always do it in the phone. Pay attention to those patterns. See if that person's going to be real, because it's real easy for them to hide behind the phone. It's real easy for them to hide behind the text. and just like, yo, this is what I'm going to put. Boom, let me get you away. Pay attention to those people. Are you having the conversation with the people that you need to have a conversation with? Or are you too afraid to tell them, like, nah, I ain't playing that game no more, though? You know what I'm saying? Are you bold enough and confident enough to have the conversation and be like, yo, hold up. I just want to politic with you real quick. Yo, I've been seeing all this stuff. And on the real, like, you got like a real consumerist, like, attitude towards our relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, and by consumer, I mean, like, I'm gonna give a lot and you won't take a lot. But when are you gonna give back to this? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Are you giving back to this friendship? Are you giving back to this family relationship? Are you giving back to this partner relationship? Like, hold up, let's stop for a second. Notice what you're getting and notice what you're giving. Do you find that you're outputting more than what you're receiving? You really got to think about that.
Yeah.
Because if you put that into perspective and you realize I'm giving a lot and I'm not getting anything back, or I'm barely getting anything, granted, there are different cases because some people can't give as much, you know, or maybe what you're expecting back from them, maybe they're giving as much as they can and you're just expecting something different. And that's, again, where you need to have the conversation and be like, yo, espérate, this is where I'm expecting this and I'm getting this. Let's talk about this real quick. And that person can come clean and be like, yo, I'm trying to do all I can. And you can literally see that there's an effort being made, and you can applaud the effort and work with somebody on that effort. But go and really analyze everything and be like, yo, hold up. What am I bringing out? What am I doing? And what is this person giving me in this relationship? Because if you're giving a lot and you're not getting anything back, yo, that person is leeching off of you. They are consuming you. They're consuming what you have to give. They are a consumer. Think about what a consumer is. If I'm a business, my responsibility is to produce the product. Why do I produce the product? So that you can consume the product.
Mm-hmm.
If it's movies, I need to make movies for you to consume. If it's games, I need to make games for you to consume. If it's food, I need to make food for you to consume. But you being the customer, I'm never expecting anything back but your money. Notice that real quick. Even the consumer gives back because they're giving back money. You don't ever see a business making a product and being like, yo, Joaquin, I just opened up this Popeyes. Come through every day. Everybody could come through every day. I'm going to give all the food for free.
Mm-hmm.
That Popeyes
right.
will not be in business in 30 days. They will not, because you still got to pay bills. Why? Because even though the consumer is coming to consume the chicken and the food, they have to give money. They have to give something back so that the person, there's the relationship. It's moving around in a circle. I give you, you give me the guap. I go ahead and pay for the next round of chicken. The next, I pay the electric, I pay the building, I pay all this stuff. Now I'm continuing to make this food. Hopefully I'm making it as tasty as you want, and you'll come back and we can continue this relationship. It's moving around in a circle. I give you product, you give me money. I give you product, you give me money. And we're going around in a circle.
It's a two-way street. It's a two-way
Exactly.
street.
You win because you're eating. I win because I'm getting a profit. You eating, I'm getting a profit. You eating, I'm getting a profit. And hopefully you bless my business enough where I can be a blessing to the community. I could support things in the community because I'm making so much money, hopefully. Mm-hmm. But even if I don't, I give you, you give me back. I give you, you give me back. There's a lot of friendships, a lot of family relationships, a lot of spouse and partner relationships. I give you, hold up. What am I getting? What am I getting?
Yeah.
You sitting there like, okay, any day now, I'm giving this person all my love. He's gonna love me one of these days, right? He's gonna treat me right one of these days. This friend is gonna start valuing me the right way one of these days, though. Like it's they're taking all this stuff, like, they hit me off whenever they need something, but whenever I need to talk to them because I'm going through that tough period right now, I'm really, maybe I'm feeling down, maybe I'm depressed, maybe I'm anxious, and I call them or I text them, they leave that text on read. I get to see it's just right there. They read it.
Yeah.
But tomorrow they hook me up. Yo, how's everything? Everything's good. But on the real though, money's tight right now with this COVID stuff. You think I could borrow like $20? All right, bet. Here you go. a lot of us are giving in relationships, and we're still waiting.
Yep.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Where is that? Like, really, where is that relationship?
That's where people
That's not even
really,
a consumer relationship. That's a
people have to
parasite.
really, yeah, they have to realize these things. Not everyone is out to help. Everyone is out to consume whatever it is that you have, whatever they can take from you. Sometimes they use you to, uh, sometimes they're using you. Sometimes they're just a distraction. You'll know these things. You'll know these things.
Yeah.
But it's tough. It's tough. And what people are afraid is to push those people away, to say no, communicate it, or simply because sometimes you don't have to have, depending on the situation, sometimes you don't even have to explain yourself. Just go ahead and cut it off because it's just not doing you any good. Maybe you spoke about it multiple times already. It's time to cut it off, you know?
Yep.
Because of, again, we're aligned. I had to move over the final thought up before all. So there are people trying to get the most out of life without giving nothing in return. So after all that you've said, this also applies in other areas, you know? And I'm going to go ahead and break it down now. So I just love the fact that you brought it up. Um, Other ways are if you're being blessed, uh, business wise, you're being blessed financially. Um, I'm one that, and I'm sure there's many others. Again, I'm not the only one in this world that's probably going or went through, you know, instability, like even hardship financially. I know how it feels to, be hurt financially. Imagine how many people are out there that are also feeling the same way, right? So I've been blessed, and all that just came to mind is, you know what? I have to give back. And obviously, I'm a person that always gives back because I'm available for people. If we have to have a conversation, I would always have a conversation. If I have to give you an advice, I'm giving you an advice. Giving back doesn't always have to be financially. It's just an example that I was using. Financially doesn't have to. The giveaway is giving back doesn't have to be financially only. What I do have to say is the advices that I've given others are ones that either I've applied to myself, right, in my own situations, or if I haven't gone through that specific hardship, if I ever do come across that struggle, I'm going to remember that. And that advice that I gave you, I'm going to go ahead and apply it myself. There's a reason why I'm telling you, how to do things if you're coming to me for advice. And
Right.
I think that's really important. Something that we should all do is the fact that we're being blessed with whatever it is, financially, assets, whatever it is, material, just know to pay it forward, you know, just know to pay it forward. And there's a lot of things that came to mind as I'm saying this, and even before we got on this live. Actually, that thought came to mind last night, and it's just how am I able to give back, whether it's financially, whether it's physically, verbally. What can I do, to actually make someone's life or day better? Because there's people struggling out there. There's people struggling. That's going to be the focus. It's going to continue to be the focus moving forward. I want it to be a bigger impact. Maybe, there's stuff that I've done already, giving advice, and there's been a huge impact that I don't know about. But I don't know. The way that I see it is like I want to take it to a whole nother level when it comes to helping people, for sure. And this is one platform, which is giving back. There's a lot of testimonies going on. We're being very transparent. We're putting all the information out. And the fact that people are joining onto our live, watching our YouTube videos, they're like, man, these guys, they went through these things, or they're going through these things. Look how they're leading the way. They're explaining, putting the testimonies out, and it's helping me along the way. I went through this last month, or I went through this today, or I'm eventually going to go through it, and you'll know how to handle that situation. Most importantly, aside from us, and when I say us, is all who's watching. We have to keep in mind everything that we talk about on our live, on our platform, is also for the youth. Is also for the youth. Most important, because the sooner they learn these things and they know about it, the better. There's things that we have to learn along the way, and we're here for our children or our youth, even people who aren't related to us, learning, how to avoid those puddles. And this is what we're here for. Again, we encourage for, you all to just send out the notification. If you know of anyone that needs to hear this type of information, send it out, share it, post a clip on your page, tag us. Again, we're open to receive DMs, emails at any given time, anytime.
Yeah, and the most important thing too is, you mentioning something there in terms of like, we've gone through it. That's why we're sharing. That's why we're giving back on it. Maybe we're still going through it.
It's only right.
But the thing is that we've seen what God has done there, and the thing about that is that it goes hand in hand with testimony. I will tell you, one of the biggest things that you can do if you're going through it and you're starting to see these changes, or you're starting to see things happen, is look at where you're at and how God has taken you out of that. You know what I'm saying? How he's given you the patience, how he's made you survive it, even though it looked like maybe odds were like insurmountable, right? Maybe it was a real difficult situation. Maybe it's a situation that gave you stress. Maybe it's a situation that gave you depression. Maybe it's a situation that made you anxious. Whatever it is,
yeah.
When you share it, you're giving that testimony, and that gives somebody else hope. You know what I'm saying? That gives somebody else hope of what might happen. Definitely share, like Joaquin just mentioned, definitely share, but do your part too. Like this is not just about like, okay, we're on the live. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the live is nice. The live is cute. As we continue to grow and this continues to be in other things, and we're all over the place, and we got hundreds of viewers or hundreds of thousands of views or whatever, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, whatever it is, that's good. But what are you doing on your end though? Like whatever you're receiving and the way in which things are changing for you, are you going and you sharing that with somebody else to be like, yo, you know what? I have seen how this has moved and like in my life, and I want to bless this person that's next to me that maybe has never heard the program, and they don't have to listen to the program, but they're listening to something that yo, I received it, and I noticed this difference, this change, and I started to apply this, and this got me out of that moment where it was a dark moment for me or whatever.
Yep.
And now somebody else received from you. You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, they're receiving us, and what the message God has given us, they're receiving it by proxy through you. So like they're not receiving it directly.
Another
from
form
us.
of giving. Yeah.
Like the same way that I know that a lot of what we talk to you about, God is the one giving that message. God is not talking to you directly, but he is using us to talk to you. The same way that if you go talk to somebody else, it's like that chain, like that continuous chain, and that's going to help to uplift people. So without question, you have to share that. We need, especially like I think we talked about in the first or second episode that we ever had, especially our people, especially the Hispanic community, the Hispanic community, the African American community. Those are the two communities that I think I was able to identify more than a lot of others, where it's like, what are we doing to bring ourselves out of things? We're not doing anything to bring ourselves out of stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's not to say the whole community, the whole Hispanic community or the whole African American community. It's to talk about when we talk about as a whole, you know what I'm saying? We're not doing anything for the most part to move ourselves out. There's pockets here and there, you know what I'm saying? There's pockets of Mexicans in California who through generations have now started to get it, and they're helping to pull each other out. There's pockets of Cubans down in Florida and Miami who are doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But as a whole, we are not doing that. We can't be in pockets. We have to, I'll put it to you this way. I've seen Cubans pick up other Cubans in Miami and build them up. I've seen Mexicans in Cali do that for Mexicans in Cali and build them up.
Yeah.
Being a Dominican from NY, I don't think I've ever seen that movement in NY. Never.
And it's all about breaking the cycle. You know what I mean? It's between breaking the cycle, awareness, and all that stuff. The more people are aware, the more they're able to change it, because if you're just doing what you've seen growing up or what you know, you know, it's always going to be the same thing. But definitely what you're saying is right. What you're saying is right. That's huge. Like we mentioned in one of the episodes, in the Jewish community, in the Arabic community, even Muslim. What's the other one? In the Chinese community, where they jump into a business and they
Yep.
are, you know, they're
The
actually securing
support
each other.
is ridiculous.
It's huge. It's
The
huge.
support is ridiculous. You know,
It's huge.
Italians are like that too. You know, there's certain cultures where naturally what they're doing is, yo, if this person made it here, we're gonna help to pull them up. In fact, they might even, yo, let's find you a business, or let's find you this job. I'm gonna get you this steady thing working over here at so and so's business. I'm gonna help you to open up this restaurant. I'm gonna help you to open up this shop. And then it's like, yo, everybody, you gotta go over there to that store. You gotta go to that restaurant. Yo, let's go eat over there. And then you got businesses in those communities have been around for decades, or like over a century, or maybe even, you know, 150 years, and they're
Passed
not going
on generations.
Anywhere. But people go there. Like, that is like, the community helps those people there. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
One of the greatest ones that I like, being from New York, one of the ones that's just like, you want a great example of that. We live in a day and age in which your Walmarts, your Amazon, your Targets, your superstores are shutting down mom and pop businesses everywhere. Everywhere. There's B&H Photo and Video right there, like on 34th.
Yeah.
What are they? It's a whole gang of nothing but Jewish people. That's the business is a Jewish-based business. They observe, like, I think they close, I can't remember if it's on Saturday or Monday, you know, whatever their holy days, they close that day. Like, they're like, they really practice it. But you know what? They have got the backing of the community, of like their Jewish community, first and foremost. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, here's a business that even on their presence online, they are huge. They got no business competing with an Amazon, but they compete with an Amazon for what they do. You feel me? They compete with a Best Buy in what they do. They compete,
and even
with all
the
these
environment
companies.
is different. The environment in there
even
is
the
different.
environment is different. If you see how the employees interact with each other and everything, yo, there is that community. You see what I'm saying? Yo, my people, Hispanic people, African American community, any community really, but these are the two that I've identified with the most, because they're the ones from where I've grown up. What are we doing? Like, really, what are we doing? Like, that's why we really got to bring people up. And it's not easy. It's not easy. It's going to take a lot of work, because unfortunately, like we talked about before, these communities, we've got slave mentality. So there's people that are not, that you trying to unplug them from the matrix. They don't want to get unplugged from the matrix. They good where they are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you got to try. You got to keep trying.
Is putting that information out there, passing it on to our children so they can pass it on to their children. And it goes down generations, because there's a lot of things that we are going to be unable to change now. But as we go and we're shaping people, right, shifting minds, that's going to go a long way, you know, because again, like we've mentioned in our past episodes, there's many things. This social media is huge, right? There's a lot of clips that you can run into, all the way from inspirational, motivational. But what do you see the most? It's bad news, violence, comedy, right? It's good to know what's going on in the world, but for me, my opinion is there should be a limit, you know? There's things that, you know, there's pages and things that I don't like to watch, because I just don't. The thing is that when you're watching that clip, you can't just tell your mind, forget about it, erase it. You know, you can't. It's the same thing. You have to be very careful with the conversations that you're having with people. There's some people that there's conversations that aren't going to lead anywhere. You know, there's conversations that you used to have in high school, and they're still having the conversations now at 30-something years old, 40 years old. And it's like, dude, we had this conversation 20 years ago. Where you been?
Yeah, they'd be like, high school was not that long ago, homie. That was 20 years ago. For real.
Know what I'm saying? Just doing the same thing.
For real?
You know? So
you got that 1990, early 2000 mindset, and it's like, bro, you realize we're in 2022 about to go into, right? You realize
things don't change. Some things don't change. It's sad, man. It's sad. It's sad, but yeah, you know, life is interesting. We're always gonna run into all these situations, all the different types of people and things that can and won't affect us, which is why we have to be strong mentally. And the word that we've been mentioning on this whole live today is awareness. I've noticed it's been awareness and blessings, awareness and blessings, awareness. Those are the key words. With that said, with that said, despite of any obstacles, the vision and effort should always outweigh the hardship or struggle. We should always have patience and faith in anything that we do. So, you know, this thought basically covers everything that we've mentioned so far, you know. Um, that's very important. No matter what takes place in our lives, we have to make sure that we just shake it off and keep pushing. You know, it's like what I mentioned in the beginning of the live. You know, I'm sure I'm not the only one, you know, guilty of this, many others. You know, you have a coworker at your job and he, you know, your day is all messed up because of him or her. And you take that outside of your workplace. You maybe even take it into your home, you know. And sometimes there are things that you have to really think through. Some things that you'll shake it off within a few minutes. Sometimes it may take an hour, sometimes a few hours. Sometimes you just have to hold tight, get some rest, and see how you think, how you feel the next day about what happened the day before. You know, there's going to be different reactions. There's going to be different feelings involved. Might be the same feelings at a different level. So if you were all the way up here today, by getting some rest, you'll be down here. Como dicen, con la mente fría. You know, you're going to handle situations differently. So I think that's very important, and we have to put that out there, you know, and continuously just remind our members, our viewers.
You know, I don't know why it's coming to my mind right now, but I feel it's important. And what we've seen here recently is when God has given me something, somebody always receives it. So I think you know somebody's going to receive it at some point. I think you really touched upon something that's very important, and it's, you know, if you are maybe that relationship at your job is toxic, or it could be a friendship too, but really think about what, you know, it could be anything, but really think about like, yo, if you know that you've been needing to cut something off, maybe you have been needing to change your job, maybe you have been needing to stop talking to this person, you know, maybe you need to stop talking to this coworker, this friend. I mean, unfortunately, sometimes it could even be a family member, but yo, really think about like ultimately where you end up, where you work on, you know, what you work on, the main ministry that God has given you is in your home. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's primarily in your home. And there's a lot of damage being done in home because of all the toxic stuff that you're bringing in to your house. That like, it doesn't stay, it does not stay at the door.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It does not stay at the door. So what happens is, if you weren't dealing with that, I'm just going to take a job as the easiest thing, but it can be, again, it could be any relationship.
Yeah.
But let's say like you're at a job that you absolutely hate. You know, your coworkers are whatever, they're a hot mess. But every day you're dealing with that hot mess. And then you walk in the door, you're not walking in the door by yourself. You don't check the baggage at the door. You know what I'm saying? Some people believe that they do because they're like, yo, I need to de-stress. I'm going to go hit up the bar real quick. So
the
you
energy's
bringing
right
in your
around
baggage. Exactly. You know, it never left. All you did was you masking it with some alcohol. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the case might be, you walk into your house and you're bringing that toxic, you know, relationship in with you. And it's just like, you know, there are, what you call it, marriages or partnerships where it's like the partner's a spouse, like they just clashing, but it really doesn't have anything to do with either one of them. Like in terms of the relationship that they have with themselves, is because one of them, if not both of them, have come into the house with all that toxic stuff behind. You know, it kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you've seen like those movies or anything like that where it's like there's an outbreak of some what you call it, of some sort of contamination or illness or whatever, right? And you got like the hallway, like, so you walk into a door, like let's say it's a hospital. You got the hospital, you walk in the door, right? And then they got like the hazmat area. And the
Yeah,
hazmat
yeah,
area, you take off the stuff to decontaminate, and then you go into another room and you put on your clothes and then you walk out. So essentially, I'm walking you into a room for you to take off all this stuff and get cleaned out so that when you walk out the next door, you're not bringing that outside. You're not bringing that with you. A lot of us need something like that. And what's happening is we're walking out the job and there's not like that middle area where it's like, yo, I'm going to let this all go. I'm going to take this moment to make sure I'm taking all this dirty stuff off, all this toxic stuff off me, wipe it off me, shower it off me, I'm going to get it all off me before I walk into my life. You see what I'm saying? What's my priority? And
yeah.
so what happens is I walk out of work, or I walk out of this conversation with this person, or I walk into my family member's house, or whatever that toxic place is, and you walk in, and when you walk into your household, there you are with your partner, there you are with your spouse, there you are with your roommate, there you are with your kids, whoever. And it's like you start having an issue with them. Maybe you arguing with your kid, maybe you arguing with your spouse, and it's like, why are you arguing? Because you're already stressed from something else, because you brought it in. You didn't check it at the door. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you get on the plane, right? And you got the carry-on, and they're like, this carry-on does not fit. You're gonna need to come here to the gate. I'm gonna give you a tag, and we're gonna put it under the plane. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it does not fit in the overhead. I cannot bring this into this tiny little plane because this does not work here. You're gonna make somebody uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Because you're taking up space and it doesn't fit up there. I can't have you put it under the seat. This chair next to you needs to be occupied by somebody. What do? When it does not fit in the plane, come outside. Let's put a tag on it. You won't check it right here. Now you come in with the baggage that fits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what a lot of us need to do in our life. Walk into your house with the baggage that fits. If this does not fit in your house because it's going to cause problems with people in your house, and that's going to bring that toxicness into those relationships, and next thing you know, all these people are clashing and clashing and clashing and clashing. Check it at the door. Realize, if think about it this way. Let's say that your husband or your wife, y'all are clashing like bad, right? And you, at the end of the night, you sitting there and you're like, dang, yo, I'm not even wanting it to go like that. For real. Like, I walked into my house and I wasn't even trying to have that. Like, serious, Stop for a second and think, all right, check, number one, was it you? Because if it was you, now ask yourself the question.
Keyword,
why?
Awareness.
It's the awareness. So if you step in, you're like, nah, it's because of the stress at work. It's because of this. It's because of, okay, hold up. You identified the problem's not in your house. You identified an external is messing up your internal. You see what I'm saying? The exterior world is messing up your interior home. And that's causing you to have beef and all this stuff. And next thing you know, you got issues with your partner or your spouse in terms of like arguments and stuff like that. Maybe you're not arguing. Maybe intimacy is your issue, because it's like, I don't really feel like dealing with anything. So I just want to shut down from the world and go to sleep.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that's how we feel. If I just go to sleep and close my eyes, tomorrow's another day and I don't got to deal with this crap. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like people don't get their love and their attention. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, exactly. And sometimes also another problem would be, speaking of the external, it's like you're coming into a home where internal isn't supportive of what's going on the outside, right? Or whatever it is that you have going on in your life. Sometimes you can have a couple, right? You'll have a couple and their focus isn't really on the same goals. Their intent aren't aligned. Their focus aren't aligned. It's two totally different things, right? Which also causes a problem. So, sometimes you have to understand your partner. If you have a lot going on, You have a lot going on. Communication is key, right? Comprehension is also key because you can communicate, and if there's no comprehension, you're not going anywhere. Communication is not going to lead anywhere. Communication is like the first step, right? That's the initial step. And then comprehension, understanding, right? Now, imagine having to go to a home where, you know, aside from the problems that they're bringing into their home, they've already been having problems in their home, you know, in the home, which sometimes the
Yep.
internal can also lead to the external, you know, vice versa.
Yeah, it can go vice
With
versa.
that said, to get a better understanding, when you're choosing your partner, now I'm taking steps backwards here. When you're choosing your partner, you would really have to get to know each other, understand what exactly you both want in life, right? Because the discussion involves what it is that I want in life, and then what it is that you want in life, right? And then what it is that we want for our lives, right? Because sometimes we may have two different point of views, or we have different focus, right? Different goals. But you know what? We can make it work. You know, discussing your financial history is also important when it comes
Yep.
to getting together with someone. You know,
Oh yeah.
because remember, like you mentioned a few minutes ago, your home is your ministry, right? It's supposed to be the place where you're supposed to feel at peace, supposed to feel secure, supposed to feel like, you know what, you can actually discuss anything and there's going to be no problem. If anything, a problem isn't going to create a problem is going to create a solution in my home. So I don't care what, when I'm at work or if I'm whatever place I'm in, knowing that when I go back home it's going to be my safe haven, that'll be a whole different ballgame. That'll make
Yep.
such a huge improvement in your life, multiple ways. So that's also an important thing, you know, for people who might be having problems now at home. Identify what the problems are, discuss what the problems are, understand what the problems are. And sometimes you have to understand that not everyone is going to be supportive, not everyone is going to want to support at the time, or, you know, not everyone is realizing what's taking place at the time, you know, and it's all because, you know, life happens, and there's a lot of situation that causes that, you know. So
And the other
I'm
thing
glad
too
you
is
touched
that
that topic.
if you started off your relationship, like you said, being transparent as to who you really are. Sometimes what gets a lot of us
Hmm.
into trouble is that we start off relationships masking who we really are. You know, like, oh, I want this
Yes.
person to like this
Yes.
about me. I want this person to like that about me. Like,
Yep.
if I'm not
They put
transparent
an
with this, they're
image,
not
they
gonna
set an
like me.
image.
So yeah, exactly. What you're putting is an image. You know, you're putting a
Yep.
filter on who you are, your life, and then what happens is you go further into the relationship, whatever. You don't want
Yeah.
to take the mask off. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, a lot of people go with that mask on way further into the relationship, talking about you might
Hmm.
even be married and everything, and you still wearing a mask. If you are at a point in which you're like, yo, I cannot be who I really want to be, like, I can't let this person in because if they realize this about me, like, yo, that's a lot to work through. The best thing you can do is work through that. Don't keep masking it. At some point, that mask is going to fall off. At some point, there comes a point in which you got to take that mask off to breathe for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Even if it's just for a split second, and somebody's gonna get a glimpse, and they're gonna be like, "Yo, hold up, what is this? What are you going through? Because I've never seen this." You know what I'm saying? And in reality, that's always been you. That's always been you.
Yeah.
You know, stop
Yep.
trying to mask stuff. If you know that you are in a relationship of some kind where you're not being the real you, you know that there's something that there's masking, and for some people it might, you right, you might really need to take a moment to look at yourself and see like, yo, this is not who I really am. You know, this is not what I wanted to be, but I've been this for so long because I've been trying to put up this front for so long. You know,
Yeah.
nothing.
It's
It's funny because when the heat gets put on, when you start to have pressure, a lot of times that's where you get to start to see who the person really was. You know what I'm saying? Don't let it get to that, because once it gets to
Mm-hmm.
that point,
It's a lot
you
of
might not
damage
be ready
done
to let that
after that.
person deal the pressure with you at all. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and if you have kids, especially, or if you even if you don't have kids, and I'm going to share that with you because I just think about kids, but now I'm thinking about it, and I mentioned maybe even if you don't have kids, I remember last year when we were starting, when God had given me and a couple other people that we needed to do our young adults ministry, right? We had a thing about role models. We were talking about role models, and I was shocked to hear some people that even looked up to me. And I was like, for real? You look up to me? Why? You know what I'm saying? And we started talking about that.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, there's so many people that looked up to you, that are looking to you as a role model, as an example, even as a grown up, like other grown ups that look up to you as a role model, an example. And like, you don't even realize, like, dang, these people are looking at me, like, for real.
Yeah.
I mentioned that not just for your kids, but also for others that are looking at you, because there's a lot of people looking at you, more people looking at you as an example than what you realize. And if you can't do a number of these things, and you know that you need to make some changes, and you know you need to let certain things go, and you know that you need to let go of this toxic stuff in your life, and you know you need to take off this mask, and you're not doing it, there are people who are looking at you as the example. And when we talk about like generational curse, it like continues, those people are going to pick up the example that you're putting down. You feel me?
Yeah.
So be mindful of that. Be cautious of that, because it doesn't necessarily need to be your kids. You might not have kids. It might be your niece or your nephew. It might be your brother or your sister. It might be a cousin that you're not even realizing is paying attention to you. It might be the coworker. It might be the neighbor. Somebody's
Yeah.
looking at you, especially in this day of social media, where the appearances are so, filtered and convoluted and everything, that really notice that. Really, really pay attention to that, because somebody is picking up that example. You
Yeah.
are the example to somebody. Whether you believe it or not, you are an example to someone. You gotta make
Yeah.
that change.
That's right. That's right. And it's like I mentioned before, the youth is the most important thing. Our children are watching us. There's young people looking up to us. It's the people that
Absolutely.
we least expect. Outside of that, it's the people that we least expect. That are actually watching and are being impacted. Big time. With our testimonies. Um, but
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Now this is a thought. Since we're going into the new year, as I mentioned in the beginning, I hope everyone is well prepared. Everything that we've been discussing on this live and even on the other episodes has been really to raise awareness on multiple levels. On multiple levels. With that said, I wrote this thought down a few days ago. It's mental health is real. You know, it's real because sometimes people think of health as physical health, right? As long as you have your extremities, as long as you're functioning fine, as long as your heart is beating, as long as you don't have diabetes, as long as there's no, it's more to it than just that, right? It's more to it than just that. Mental health, and I feel like everything starts there. To be honest, I never thought about it that way until I had to deal, with like anxiety, depression, and stuff like that. Um, Mental health is real. There's no amount of money or accomplishments that will help cope with or eliminate mental illness. We have to truly focus on our health and obtaining the things we think would improve our mental health. This means therapy, meditation, exercise, and prayers. They're extremely important when dealing with this matter, you know? So notice everything that I just finished mentioning there. We have to do everything possible to maintain our mental health. Something that the majority or most people do is they use substance to deal with whatever they're dealing in life. There's
Yeah.
heavy substance, and all the way from alcohol to drugs. It's all the same thing at different levels, right? More one a lot more dangerous than the other. And in fact, they're all dangerous because there's people that don't have limits, right? And that's where overdose kicks in. So with that said, there's people that are coping with whatever they're dealing with drugs. There are people that are coping with alcohol, right? And all that does, we all know what it does. All it does is numb you in the moment. You're numb in the moment. You forgot all about it in the moment. And tomorrow, the problem comes right back. If you don't have that substance in your system, it's going to come right back. So what that means, you're going to find yourself using that substance on a daily basis or on an hourly basis or every few hours. Look at it even with prescription drugs. If you're feeling some type of pain, what's the first start? You know what? Let me drink an ibuprofen. What is the ibuprofen going to do? It's going to hold you down for a few hours. But you got to pop the next one, depending on the amount of milligrams. You got to pop the next one in a few hours in order for you not to feel that pain, right? It's the same thing with substances. It's the same thing with problems. It's the same thing with obstacles, struggles. The most important thing to do is find the people that you feel comfortable with discussing. We're here providing this platform for that. What I mentioned in that thought is therapy, meditation, and exercising, right? Obviously, sometimes depending if you have insurance or not, therapy isn't free. There are organizations that do offer the free sessions, and it's very limited, right? Sometimes we're in need of a deeper, in need of more sessions. Sometimes even when you're in the session, you feel comfortable then, but you need the sources outside of that session to make you stay on track. So what am I trying to say by that? Is maybe there are things that you're doing to cope with it. Let's forget about the substance now. In the environment that you're putting yourself in, the people that you're surrounding yourself with, that affects you also. I'm getting goosebumps as I say that.
A lot of us, you mentioned substances, which a lot of times we think of the substance, and there's a lot of people that get into or have certain kinds of relationships, and I'm not talking about spouse, or I'm not talking about your partner. I'm talking about you might be just going out and having sex as an outlet, especially women. A lot of times some of y'all are getting used. There's no other way to put it. You're getting used because it's like, okay, I can't cope with a certain something, so like this is my outlet. Instead of drugs, instead of alcohol, for some of y'all it might just be sex. You know what I'm saying? It might. Now, here's the thing. I wanted to bring that up because when we look, I thought what you mentioned about the prescription drugs, it was key. These things just numb you. If you drink the alcohol, it numbs you for a little bit. If you're doing the drugs, it numbs you for a little bit. But you take a look at the prescription drugs. We've got people, like famous people. You look at somebody like Michael Jackson. You look at somebody like Prince.
Robin Williams,
somebody
man.
Famous. Robin Williams. But you look at these particular people, like the two that I mentioned right now. You think that they just died off of a drug addiction, like a prescription drug addiction? Like, oh, I just decided to pop some Tylenol today and I died? No. They started with, this prescription takes the edge off. There gets to be a point in which that's not enough. And it goes on to the next thing. Like, and you're increasing doses. In the case of some of these people who have OD'd, they increased the doses. Why? They didn't just say, yo, today I'm going to increase the dose by a bunch. No, they gradually started increasing dosages of what they were taking because that was helping them cope, because what was their outlet before wasn't enough. So I got to up it, and I got to up it, and I got to up it, and I got to up it. And there comes a point in which you can't take it anymore. Your body can't take it anymore. And it's like, in terms of those prescription addictions, that was the limit. And they didn't make it because they got past that limit. Some of us are, drinking alcohol. Some of us are doing drugs. Some of us are having relationships with people, or let's just call it, there's no ship in there. It's just you're having the relation with the person, right? And it's just like, you ever notice why you don't feel good after? Once everything's done, you feel like, dang, what the heck did I get into? Like, for real, you know? And then it's like, that's not going to take the edge off. That's not going to solve your problem. And the next time, it's not going to solve your problem either. And the time after that's not going to solve your problem. Are you getting down to the root of the problem? Like, for real, are you getting to the root of the problem? You've never gotten down to the root of the problem. So there you are, smoking. There you are, drinking. There you are, you know, having, you know, just supposedly having your casual sex, whatever it is, because boom, like, that's going to take care of this. That's going to numb my pain. But what happens when that doesn't numb your pain anymore? That's why you end up with some people that end up doing a lot worse things down the road. You know what I'm saying?
A short-term problem becomes long-term sometimes because of what you're saying.
You don't deal, you don't deal with it. You don't get to the root and deal with it. There comes a point in which what's numbing your pain no longer numbs your pain, and you need more. Mm-hmm. And watch what your outlet is. Watch what your outlet is, because it can be drugs, it can be alcohol, it can be sex. Next thing you know, you sleeping with one dude or you sleeping with one chick. That's not enough. And next thing you know, an hour or two later, you finding somebody else.
Yep.
It happens. It happens.
Yep.
Maybe food is your outlet. Yo, I'm just gonna eat this because I stress eat. You know, a lot of us stress eat. I've been guilty. There have been times where I've been like, yo, you know what? Let me just eat this because I'm kind of stressed out.
Yeah. Same.
You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, yo, it was real easy to put on them 20, 30 pounds. It wasn't so easy to take it off. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, that one soda that you were having just to, yo, I'm just going to enjoy myself with this real quick. You know what I'm saying? That was no longer enough. Now you're looking for something else. Now you're drinking, yo, you used to drink the 20 ounce. Now you're drinking 2 20 ounces. Next thing you know, you're having soda for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know what I'm saying? It can be anything. It could be anything. And next thing you know, that soda leads, you know, that constant sweets leads you to then have health issues with diabetes. That constant eating leads you to be overweight or obese. There's so many different things that just add up.
It's a lot.
You know, it's just continuously adding.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, you don't feel good about it. You know what I'm saying? You're not feeling good about it. Yo, we got to get to the root. We got to get to the root, but that means that there needs to be a certain degree of transparency. You can't take an alcoholic to, you know, to rehab if they don't want to be taken, if they don't want to admit that they have an issue. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because even that location is going to be like, and what am I going to do with this person? They're going to sit here and listen to everything that I have to say, and they're going to be like, but that ain't me. I don't drink as much as this person over here does. You notice? Because a lot of times when we don't want to admit the issue, what do we start doing? I don't do it as much as that person over there.
That's
I'm not drinking as much as him. I'm not smoking up as much as him. I'm not getting yo. So what if I do coke? I'm not on heroin. I'm not smoking crack.
Yeah, compare.
Now we just don't compare. We're just going to compare so you can get away from it. You know? Yeah, I'm sleeping with like 2 or 3 people to take the edge off. But at least, you know, at least now I'm not on drugs. Word, that's where we got to now. If you got to recognize that you got the issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you got to recognize it's really underlying
it's awareness.
Issue.
It goes right back to awareness. It goes right back to awareness.
Your addictions ultimately you're addicted because there is an underlying issue. There's something beneath that. Typically, you're trying to numb something that's all beneath that. Yo, roll the stuff back. Roll the stuff back. Have the awareness. Start analyzing. Start looking. If you can get to the root of the problem, you'll be so much better for it, and you'll get further ahead. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's not to say that you're going to be able to turn it off right away, but when you can identify it, that's when you can get help. Again. That might be through a DM, through a call. That might be through hitting up a therapist. That might be through a number of different things. Whatever you feel the outlet is, but you got to find the issue first. I think it's funny because somehow we just circled back to the very start where we said, new year, new you, right? Mm-hmm. New year, new me. what was the first question that I asked? Whatever you're going to change, did you try to change it before? Why
Yep.
did that not work?
There's a lot more on the other side. There's a lot more on the other side that you're just
You
holding
feel
up
me?
on.
And
It's a lot
if you
more.
say to yourself, if you answer that first question, we just circled back. Why didn't it work? Let's start digging in. Let's start looking. What's the root cause? Why didn't this work? Because a lot of times when we say new year, new me, it's about the thing that you need to do different. That means you weren't happy about something. If it's eating, why are you eating the garbage that you eating? If it's drinking, why are you drinking as much as you drinking? If it's smoking, why are you smoking as much as you smoking? You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you're going around and sleeping with a bunch of people, why are you sleeping with as many people as you sleeping with though? You know, why can't you slow it down? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Stop for a second, analyze, dig up the root. What is the problem? What am I dealing with? Once you got that, new you. There goes that's the change. And I'll tell you, a lot of times you cannot make that change on your own. Most of the time you can't. You
No,
know.
no, no, no. You need outside sources.
Yep.
It's something
Y'all need
like we've
Jesus.
mentioned. Yeah, yeah, that's right.
You know,
Amen.
you need Jesus. He can
Yep.
make that change.
Definitely, definitely. So it's just raising awareness. You know what I mean, to a lot of things. Realizing, you know what I mean. And again, by having this platform, by having these type of conversations, um, this is how people will actually connect, relate, pass it on to someone else. There's always going to be uh, someone who needs to hear this. You know what I mean? Maybe they don't have these
Yep.
type of friends, these type of conversations. They don't even know these type of conversations because of the type of friends that they have or the type of people that they have around. They only know how to speak on, specific things. So it's
Yep.
very important. Now, um, this is more of a general one, right? The final thought that I have here is something that's major for me and should be for all of us is to continue to focus and to continue to be in good health, right? In general, in general, but specifically mentally. We are in this journey in making things happen and giving your family the things they need and want for a better future. With that said, there's a lot of things that can affect your family. A lot of things that come on you because of on us. When I say you, I'm saying everyone else. Um, it can either make your family better or it can actually destroy your family.
Yep.
Decisions that you make can actually destroy you. If you're being destroyed, then your family is being destroyed as well because you're not up to par. You're not mentally stable. You're not financially stable. You're not physically stable. It's going to affect anything that you're involved with, right? For those who are parents, for those who aren't parents, you know, sometimes you're just isolated, right? Or if you live with a sibling, or if you live on your own, sometimes you're isolated and no one is really dealing with it. But for those who are parents, you're passing it on to the child,
Yep.
or children, which is why we have to be very careful in the decision that we make. The people that we bring around us and them, the people that you accept in your homes, the places that you go to, whether it's again by yourself or with a child, because both parties are affected, whether you're a parent or not. The places that you go to, maybe you don't belong in that environment, you don't belong in that circle, you don't belong in that place. That substance doesn't belong in you, you know. Um, whatever it is that you go through, that you're going through, there's a lot more that you can do to cope and to heal. What we have to focus on is healing. It's the end of a year, and it's going to be the beginning of another. The beginning. Tomorrow is always an opportunity and a new beginning, right? Which is why we're here. What we try to say by new year, new me. You don't have to wait for a new year to have a new beginning. New year, new you, and new day. You know what I mean? If you want to be different, start tomorrow. Don't wait for the next year,
Yep.
for the new year. It's very important. Stop delaying. Stop delaying the blessings. Stop delaying all the
Every
opportunities
second.
that you have ahead.
every second is an opportunity. So if you want,
That's
you
it.
know, God gave you the next second, right? One of the best things that I heard of a few years ago was, you know, when is the future? Now, and
Yeah.
now, and
Yep.
now,
100%.
and now. It's like every second is that
Yep.
opportunity. So new
100%.
you, you know, new year, new you. If you have something in your head that you're like, yeah, I just feel like I've been needing to make this change. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait until January 1st. There's no excuse. If you
Mm-hmm.
really want it, right now, this second, you can say this very next second that's coming up. That's it. Like I'm gonna start. You know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it happen. Um, but game plan. You know what I'm saying? Ask God to give you some direction and game plan and come into it saying
Definitely
the
pray.
same way.
Definitely pray.
Listen, the same way that you come into it, like that you would come into a business and you would say, here's my business plan. I'm going to make it work. You know what I'm saying? And in reality, you should be praying about it so that God gives you your plans, like He's in your plans. The
Mm-hmm.
same way, whatever it is, don't go into it blindly. You can make the decision right now. I don't want to continue moving forward with how I've been doing things, but I want to make a change. This is what I was planning for January 1st. I'm going to decide right now in this moment to make this change. But what I'm going to maybe do for the next few days is ask God for some direction and start writing down, how am I going to change? How am I going to achieve what I'm trying to achieve? You know? And
Mm-hmm.
like we talked about earlier, before you do all of that, one of the most important things, and I think you and me have both seen it here recently, and in some of the things that we're in right now, it was one of the first questions that people ask. You have to know your why, like why you're doing it. Like
Yeah.
what is your why? You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you could, if you ask yourself, okay, what's my why? Why is the reason that I'm doing this? You might find out that this is not even something that you really want to do. Like your why might be all jacked up. Your why might be for somebody else. It might not be for you. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And if that's the case, maybe you need to reanalyze if that's something that you really want to move forward with. You know what I'm saying? You have to know your why. You have to
Big time.
understand your why. You know, if your why is not truly for the betterment of you, if it's for somebody else, you know, again, it's easier to attribute this to physical things, you know, material things that we can buy. But it's just like, I want to move into this new apartment next year. I want to buy this new house next year. I want to get this new car next year. I want to do this next year. I want to take this vacation next year. All of that is good. What is your
Yeah.
why? Why do you need that new apartment? Why do you need that house? Why do you need that car? Why do you want to start this business? Why do you
Yep.
want
In
to do
general,
this?
just
Why do
in
you want to do
general.
that? Just in general, ask yourself. So you get to the root of why you want it. Because at the end of the day, maybe that's not the best thing for you. And the best thing here is going to be when you analyze your why, how are you going to feel if it's not working out? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because the discouragement can be something real tough. If you start a business, how are you going to do if your business? How are you going to feel if your business is not doing well at first?
Mm-hmm.
If I want to be a social media influencer, if you are on social media, if you go on YouTube and the first 6 months you get 5 views on each of your videos, how are you going to feel? You're going to be all right. You're mentally, you're going to be able to handle that. What was your why? What was the reason that you did it? Oh, I did it to make
Yeah.
money. That was my why. All right. So how are you going to feel when the money's not rolling in then?
Yep. You got to be well prepared. Again, it's all with mental health. It all starts mentally. You have to be ready mentally for all these
And
things,
that
like
will
you said.
affect you. Exactly. If you're not prepared with your
It's
why
not
and
always
things are
physical.
not going the right way, what's your mental health status
Yeah.
going to be like?
It's how you receive any situation, how you look at it, and what your reaction to it is going to be, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Because
honestly,
if your why is strong enough, you'll adapt. You'll
yeah.
find out what's not working, and I need some more direction. How am I going to push this? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You're not going to give up. You're going to push because your why is important.
And no matter what someone is saying to you, no matter what someone does, no matter what obstacle presents itself, if you believe in what you're doing, you're going to keep pushing. You're going to keep going no matter what. You know, when you said the whole example with someone wanting to become an influencer, are you ready for the critics? Are you ready for the bad comments? Because you want to be an influencer for the good stuff. Are you ready for the bad? What
The
might
bad is
be,
always going to come.
what it's always going to come. You know, you look weird. You know, you're not funny, or you're not really doing much. Why am I following you? And you get unfollows. Don't get attached to those likes. Don't get attached to those follows. Whatever you believe in, do it regardless of what's happening around you. And the day that you decide to quit is because you want to quit, not because someone said it, or because of the comments that you're receiving, or because of the results that you're receiving. Because I can
Yep.
tell you with my business, as a business owner, for a while, you know, sales will come in here and there. And there's also times when sales don't come in. But then you also have other times when those blessings do come in, you know,
Yep.
those sales. So it's like, just keep going. Just keep going, you know? And it's something that we really have to roll over onto the next year, patience and faith, and every year after that, regardless, you know?
Absolutely.
Um, with that said, with that said, again, that's it. We only have what, a day and a few hours, and we'll be in the new year. What I really want to do is wish everyone the best. You know, every time we get on this
Yes.
live, or even if I get in touch with someone on DM, uh, in the DM or in the comments, you know, I'm always, even if you notice my post, I always wish everyone well. You know, good morning. Hope everyone is having a great and blessed day. Because I know I'm one that needs that most of the time, and I'm sure there's many others that need it. With that said, I hope everyone's having a blessed week. Um, and continue to have a blessed week. And regardless of anything that's happening in your life, all the hardship, obstacles, the struggles, whatever it is, in your home, outside of your home, remember patience and faith. You know, stay strong. Don't quit. You know, sometimes we think quitting is the end of the pain or the end of the struggle, but not really. You know,
Yep.
and something that I came across, it was actually a few hours ago, which was very interesting. um God is great, you know, and God is always there. Sometimes we may feel, for those that, you know, aren't religious, you know, because you don't have to be, but God is always there, and he's always watching, and he's doing his work, but we have to put in the effort, you know. And he tends to really jump in like heavy that second that you quit. The second that you decide to quit, you'll get this burst of I would say vision, effort, energy. And when you receive that, it's not that you came up with that idea on your own. No, God bless you with that to keep going. The second you decided to quit, he never wants to see you in the quitting phase. But if you're there, he's going to pull you out, you know. So always remember to never quit. Never quit. Another thing, just wanna is what I wish everyone, when I know, you know, their birthdays and stuff. But I want to wish you the same for the following year. I really wish you um, the best in all that you're trying to do, and all that you're doing, whether it's personal, whether it's business. Um, you know, hope God continues to bless you with lots of joy, happiness, success for those who are receiving it, um, uh, patience for those who are trying, strength for those who feel like quitting, um, and above all, health. Because, you know, without that, there's nothing, you know. So no matter what it is that you want to obtain, whatever it is that you want to accomplish, if you don't have your health, starting with your mental health, you have nothing.
Yep.
You know, if you don't have your mental health, you're just a vegetable. You know what I mean? There's not much that you can do with your success if you're not right up here. So, you know, with that said, wishing one well the next year. I hope you know, everyone succeeds, and just keep swimming, man. Don't ever sink. You know, it's another form of saying don't quit. In this world that we live in, and especially now, it's been more severe. We either sink or swim. So you want to be the sinker or the swimmer. You make that decision. You know, I made my decision a long time ago, multiple times that I wanted to quit, and I'm glad that I never did, because it was actually very severe. And to be honest, I had to put that testimony out there, man, because we're all in the same battle. Uh, we've spoken in multiple episodes how there's a lot going on social media and a lot of fronts. And listen, we're all struggling some way, even successful people, you know, obviously different levels, you know, because sometimes there are other people that have backups, but
Yep.
we're all in a battle. You know, we're all in some type of battle, whether it's minor or severe. It might be what's minor for you is severe to someone else, and vice versa. So, but yeah, I really wanted to put that out there. With that said, Happy New Year uh, to everyone. Wishing you guys the best. Love you guys. Thank you for actually watching our platform, for joining us on the live, for watching our YouTube, for commenting, for sending us DMs, giving us feedback, you know, making suggestions. Um, we really appreciate you all. Please, 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 please pass on our platform onto others who may need it. Share, grab a clip and put it on your page, you know, post it on your page, or just simply you have the option to actually send the post over to other followers, you know, whether they need it or not, just send it out, you know. Remember what we were talking about earlier. It's not all about receiving. We also have to focus on giving, and that's one form of giving. All right, so
Yep.
God bless you all. Love you guys. Thanks again.
Yeah, just be ready for next week. You know, we just pray that you guys are going to be blessed. You know, that God blesses you, like Joaquin said, going into this next week. You know, going into this next year. Really, just remember it can start now, so don't worry about that. Just keep it moving, get it going, do what you guys feel that you're called to do. Ask God for direction. If you don't have it, we pray that God gives you direction going into this new year. And as we get started to go into this new year, we want to hear testimony. We know that God is going to be doing a lot of stuff. We declare that God is going to be doing a lot of stuff for you guys. If you seek Him in terms of making the changes that you want to make, He, like the word said that we read earlier, He's going to direct those plans, right? He's going to set those plans up. He's going to get them going. So if you seek Him and He's in there, just know He is going to make those plans. He's going to make them successful. It doesn't mean it's going to be immediate success, but we just want to hear you guys' testimony, next week as we go into this new year. Be ready to join us. We would like to hear from you guys where you feel that the direction is taking you for this new year. Pray over you guys as you go into this new year. And then from there also, that gives us a platform to be able to later on, as those things start to happen, we start to know, this person said this back in January, and look at where they're at right now. Like, the testimony is alive, and it'll show people that God is doing something. So we just pray blessing upon blessing for you guys, and we just look forward, may just God bless you guys tremendously.
Amen, amen. What we got there, Lori? Happy New Year, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Blessings to you and the family as well, of course, of course.
Yes.
And that's Mommy there. Bendición, Mommy.
Bendición, tía.
Igual, Mommy, igual. Love you.
Love you, tía.
Yeah, all right. So we're good. We'll see everyone next year.
Yes, sir.
All right.
God bless
Have a
you.
good night, everyone. God bless.